This episode of the MLB Guardcast is sponsored by Sadnap Studios. Are you in need of assistance when it comes to digital arts, logo creation, website design, brand building, or designing merch? Then look no further than Sadnap Studios. The team at Sadnap Studios wants to help and make your dreams into reality. Everything is original and organically created. Nothing AI. You can follow them and check out some of their incredible work on Instagram at sadnap_studios_art drop. Thanks again to the folks at Sadnap Studios. Go Guards.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time for another episode of the MLB Guardcast. As always, I am Mike Vorhies. With me from his discreet second property, it is Bryan Shaw on this Memorial Day weekend. Bryan, first and foremost, happy Memorial Day, brother.
A happy Memorial Day. I hope everybody has the extended weekend, and as we remember our heroes in this country on this upcoming Memorial Day, and a lot going on. It's the unofficial start of summer, although it doesn't quite feel like it. Feels more like
God, it
fall.
feels like, yes,
The
exactly.
Guardians have been playing in some just dreadful weather. The MLB basically forcing them to play through slop because they don't want to try to have to make up games. So it's been an interesting few days.
It has. Over the last 10 games, our Guardians are 4-6. We sit 27-22. 5 games behind the Tigers, although we got a game on the Tigers by beating them yesterday in a 7. Was it 7-0? Was that the
7-0.
final? It was 3-0 for quite a while. Great pitching performances by Tanner Bybee for us and Jack Flaherty. For the Tigers, I think the Guardians had 3 runs on 3 hits, which was nice. Great efficiency. Then the floodgates opened when the Tigers went to their bullpen, which we'll take it. We love playing Detroit. We needed that win to kind of get back onto our winning ways. Winners now of 2 in a row. We call that a winning streak. If we win again tonight, that's 3, and we can go streaking. So, Bryan, obviously the last time we recorded, we had the Phillies in town. We won the first game and then lost 2. Went to play Milwaukee, which is, I call them Cleveland squared, because they remind me a lot of Cleveland. They really
Cleveland
do.
Northwest.
That's a good one. We'll go with Cleveland Northwest. I like that. We beat Minnesota or Milwaukee in their series. Then we split a 4-game series with Minnesota, including 2 rainouts, correct? I believe it was 2 rainouts and double headers and slop and just that Minnesota series. Come on, MLB, what are we doing?
Yeah, the one of the games was postponed, and then they moved a game to August or September. They unfortunately lost in walk-off style after coming back in the redo, the restart.
The finished suspension game, I guess, is what they call it.
And then won pretty convincingly in game 2, but you did skip, and probably purposely.
I did it on purpose. We played Terry Francona and that's still funny for me to say. Terry Francona, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, guys, we got our butts kicked. We got swept 3-0. Just not great in the Ohio series.
You know what I think happened there?
What do you think happened?
Do you remember? So in our last pod, we talked about specifically a Cincinnati player who was in AAA, and we were both surprised by that.
Mr. Will Benson. Yes, Terry Francona.
We literally called that out.
We did.
We said, I was like, Will Benson's in AAA? Did you know that?
Yeah.
He gets called up that day, and just in time to hit 4 home runs against the Guardians.
Listen, I am a firm believer that Terry Francona has spies. I think that Terry Francona listens to our podcast. I really do. Because last year when we recorded it, he had his scooter stolen. and it was returned right the next day after we recorded our
You mean
podcast.
2 years ago?
2 years ago, I'm sorry. 2 years
Yeah.
ago, he had his scooter stolen. And we're like, I have a feeling that they hear these things. And you made fun of, just talking about the slumpiness, I guess I'll make it a word, of Nolan Jones. We were
No, 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 no,
bashing
no,
Carlos
no, 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 no.
Santana. That was me. I know. I'm trying to get you in trouble. Anyway, it was me. And then what happens? They go out and Santana's on a tear right now. Nolan Jones looks like he wants to stay here, so he's going to keep
Yeah,
hitting.
he's still struggling. His advanced metrics say he's going to turn it around, and we keep waiting for it. We keep waiting for it, and he's hitting the ball on the screws, but it feels like it just goes directly to the center fielder every time.
I wonder
And that's an unfortunate.
would you be opposed to send him to AAA for like a week to kind of figure it out?
They can't. He's out of options.
Nolan has no options.
He has no
Oh
options. That's why he
no.
got traded.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to DFA him. Because I don't want somebody else to take him.
I think
But
I think it'll come around, but there was a roster move. We did get Mr. Lane Thomas back.
we did. I love Twitter X. I love it. Everybody says it's always funny when a Guardians player is ready to return from injury and return to the lineup. Someone mysteriously gets an injury and gets put on the injured list so that they don't have to make a roster move.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that that's wrong, but they may be onto something.
So it was,
It's called roster manipulation, I think,
I did
is the term.
see, I got the notification that the lineup was set. Saw Mr. Lane Thomas was in it, my dude Lane. And then I wanted to see what the corresponding move was. And I'm scrolling through the transactions and I don't see a transaction. It just wasn't there. And then it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until our beat reporter said, oh, it was because Mr. Will Brennan, he has forearm inflammation and went onto the invalids.
Didn't
So,
see him get hurt. Didn't see anything in any of the games that he played that would tell me he got hurt.
yeah, but he
So,
also didn't play much at all. So
mm-mm.
who knows? Yeah, I don't think he got hit by a pitch or anything. Not that I remembered, but yeah, whatever. But you know what? Like you said, they've won two in a row. They did hit a bit of a skid. They've won two in a row. The division is packed tight. We have
Yeah,
not only are we five back from Detroit, but so is Kansas City, and so are
and
the
Minnesota.
Twins.
Yeah, the White Sox, we can write them off. They're
If
17 and a half games out, and I'm not worried about them.
Unless there was a day game that mattered that I don't know about, as of right now, all four teams that are contending in the AL Central would be playoff teams. We would have
Yeah,
all three
let's
wild
see.
cards.
I'm looking for games tonight. Let's see the uh scrolling through. The Royals and the Twins actually play each other
There we
tonight in
go.
Minnesota. It is at 8:10 Eastern time, Royals and Twins. And of course, we have the Tigers in Detroit. Your boy, Slade Ciccone, gets the start tonight
Yeah,
against Jackson Jobe.
we saw his first start since we last recorded,
Looked
because
looked good.
unfortunately Mr. Ben Lively went down with an injury and is getting
Yeah.
a second opinion on his forearm strain, which you never like to hear.
Mm-mm.
That's a tough loss, but yeah, Saccone looked really good initially in his first start. He started to tail off there at the end. I also wanted to bring up, with yesterday's game and throughout the basically 2 weeks since we've last recorded, I think we've seen some incredible pitching as of late, Saccone included. We saw that gem from Tanner Bybee yesterday.
Yeah.
We saw Gavin Williams have a really nice outing. Mike, what has changed in that time frame?
The weather has not been ideal for these
That's
guys.
true.
I don't think it's the weather. I think confidence, honestly. I think Gavin is realizing that he can do better, and he
Yeah.
has.
But do you
Tanner's
think
always been good.
is there any reason has there been any changes to the organization that you think would give our pitchers more confidence?
Not one that sticks out, but I'm sure you're going to tell me, and I'm going to go, oh yeah, and pretend like I know what you're
You
talking about.
are
So,
you are gonna go.
what
How
was
am I
the
not
change?
picking up what he's putting down?
I'm
How
not
about
picking it
Corey
up.
Kluber being an addition to the
Cy Kluber.
organization?
Welcome back. First off, welcome back, Cy Kluber. What he is the pitching coach in waiting. I'm going to say
I
it
think
now.
so. I think
I
so.
think I love that they made this move. I cannot wait to see what he does for us here in Cleveland. Um, he had some memorable years here with the Indians, with the Guardians. Yeah, Cy
So,
Kluber, and I think and you're right. I completely forgot about
well, the
Cy
reason I
Kluber.
bring that up is because Tanner Bybee had the outing that he had. We had Saccone start. Then you also had Cade Smith, who Cade the side coming in for Tim Herron with the bases loaded last night.
Listen to me. Listen, I was on Cade Smith. I was like, something's not right. He had not been the dominant guy we saw last year. Tim Herron comes in last night, just didn't have it. Clearly, didn't have it. Loaded
Well,
bases.
there was also some blunders in the field that
I
didn't
know
help
that too.
him.
That too.
And it always feels like so that was his thing is that game could have got out of hand. That game
It
could
can.
have got out of control.
Cade Smith,
Thankfully,
though,
it didn't. But that
he
one
came in
felt
and looked
like you're
good.
like, oh no, this is
They
spiraling.
loaded the bases, and I'm like, oh, here we go. A bullpen's gonna blow it. Cue the scene from the movie Major League when the super fan goes, oh, don't they'll blow it in the ninth. And that's exactly what I was so worried about. But Cade Smith came in, he was lights out, just dominant, 3 strikeouts, toying with the hitters. I loved every second of it. And I think now these guys they have confidence. And I having someone, a Cy Young Award winner like Corey Kluber on the team, who's here, has pitched here, he's really good. And he's able to help these young guys. I mean, I only see that as beneficial.
Yeah, and I bring up Kluber specifically. You know, we saw with Tanner Bybee. You know, Cade Smith had his struggles himself. There could have been some adjustment that Kluber has helped with. But if you go look at Lance Broz, so Bradzowski, I believe is how you say his name. He picked up that Gavin Williams has a new pitch. He has a sinker that he added to his arsenal. And after that, he had in that outing where he basically introduced that's where he had that great outing against the Twins. And
He did.
you know, so there could be little things like that where Kluber is saying, okay, but if you create this pitch and you have this pitch and you can control it and you can do a sinker off of your fastball and it looks the same and you can tunnel that and one breaks and one doesn't. Like that opens up things just so much more for the potential for this rotation. And
Right.
the pitching staff before the Kluber had been announced as being a part of the staff, he had been in the dugout, so he was kind of already here hanging out. But I don't think it's a coincidence that the Guardians' ERA as a team in May has fallen to 3.46, and so they are
Yeah.
getting better. And you are
No
seeing,
such thing as coincidences. No such thing as coincidences.
yeah. So I guess that kind of brings me to another point of coincidences. Um, a historically slow starting position player started historically slow, but has since thawed and is doing quite well. And I posed this on Twitter and in a different way that I posed to you, but I had said, do you feel like Gabriel Arias is having a good season? And you said yes.
I answered yes based
Yep.
on the fact that he's hitting the ball. Yes.
Yep. And, you know, compared to what we expected out of Arias, which was not much, and he's taken over at shortstop and done a good job when Rocchio wasn't doing well. And he had a nice start to the season. And then I asked you, is Carlos Santana having a good season? And you said
Not by my standards, but statistically he's
your
coming out of it.
standards for him or your standards as a whole?
Standards as a whole.
Okay.
He's 39 years old, and I was hoping he'd be a lot further along,
Okay.
like
So
leading, making me not miss Josh Naylor. We'll put it that way.
yeah. So he in May, Mr. Carlos Santana is second on the team in OPS with a 928, only behind Jose Ramirez. And in May, unfortunately, Gabriel Arias has fallen off a little bit since that hot start. Now, people were calling for Santana to be designated for assignment. Um, Nobody is calling for Arias to be
I'll
cut,
own
and
it.
nor should they be. It's a little bit of a slump. It's not that big a deal. And we really don't have any other middle infielders anyway. However, but I just bring that up because it's interesting that the perspective because of there's so much focus on the beginning of the season, and I think there's so much attention on the beginning of the season that a player's struggles in March and April seem to be amplified versus a hot start in April that holds its length a little bit longer. So where Santana has had a better month of May than Arias had in April, uh, you're basically just flipping their production. And one, you're like, yeah, he's having a good season, and the other one, you're like, it's about time. Uh, and
Yeah.
on top of that, I had sent you, I think it was this morning. I did a comparison
Yesterday. Yesterday you sent it. Yep.
yesterday. I did a comparison since the last week of April. So it basically includes a month of games that Carlos Santana has better stats than Josh Naylor. And I will tell
Yeah,
you that,
that was a tough pill for me to have to swallow.
well,
So
Josh hasn't hit a home run in a while. Carlos Santana now has more home runs. He's not quite caught up to him in RBIs yet. I believe Josh has three more RBIs. And the on base percentage is getting close as well because Carlos just keeps walking and walking and walking. Now, I haven't looked at like in terms of like pitches per at bat and things like that and getting that nitty gritty, but it was about a month ago that Stephen Vogt had said, despite Carlos's struggles, he goes, but all the bats are competitive. They're all the at bats are getting length out of the pitcher and they're going to full counts and all of those things. And then he specifically countered that with, that's what we were missing in the middle of the lineup last year. And I thought that was a direct dig at Josh. And then you brought up
it
Josh's
was.
stats and you're like, well, I mean, come on, look at what he's doing so far. Look at his production and rightfully so. Now things have fallen off a little bit. They've slowed down a little bit for Josh. It's kind of the same thing with Andreas Jimenez. We saw Andreas Jimenez hit three home
Yeah.
runs in the first week. Everybody lost their minds, and he hasn't done a thing since, except for when he played Cleveland. He had a couple
He's
RBIs.
hurt now. He's
Oh, he
on the
is.
injured list. He is calf. Something with his calf.
So there you
He's on
go.
the
So
injured
now
list.
he's injured. Well, but so again, perception. Uh, I was listening to the radio, and I
Wait,
heard
people still do that? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
on
Just
occasion,
kidding.
I heard a caller call into one of the local radio stations and complain about the Jimenez trade, saying like, he was an all-star and yeah, maybe he wasn't hitting that great, but we don't have anybody with his production. And both Schneemann and Arias have better production than Jimenez. And Schneemann hasn't even been playing every
Yeah.
day initially, and he has more home runs, basically more everything than Jimenez,
Yeah.
as Schneemann is kind of pretty much taken over at second base. So it's like,
Well, now it'll be Angel Martinez because Lane will go back to center field. I think Martinez and Schneemann are going to rotate at
yeah,
second
they'll probably
base. I
split some
really do.
time there, and they did give Arias a day off, and so both Martinez and Schneemann were in the lineup together in the infield. So yeah, they have a way to kind of rotate those players. But Mr. Schneemann has a 908 OPS in May. Stephen Kwan at 758. One player that has hit a little bit of a skid that I would like to see some improvement out of is Kyle Manzardo after a really nice start. He's not
Hmm.
had quite the production he did in the first part of the season, but you know, they're in the thick of it. This division's going to be tough. I mean, we can see that. This
Okay.
division is going to be really, really tough. And I think all you can ask right now is that because we still have reinforcements coming. Lane just came back yesterday,
Yeah.
ended up with an RBI on a sac fly. We have David Fry coming back, who's currently playing in Akron.
And I was just getting ready to say he will now be playing every other day as part of his recovery rehab process. So the Rubber Ducks have yet to play. They've been rained out, I believe, the last 2 nights. They should play tonight, and hopefully David Fry is in the lineup. Hopefully.
And then
Yeah.
Curtis Danberg said on Ken Carmen and Anthony Lima's show this morning that Shane Bieber will probably be back sometime in late June. So that he's going to be
So
starting
yeah.
rehab assignment here soon.
Yep. So you're bringing up injuries. Let's touch on a few. Will Brennan. So he's dealt with forearm issues off and on, and he really felt it on throws that he was making to home plate on May 16th and May 22nd, Stephen Vogt said. So that was the reason they put him on the injured list to see kind of what's going on. You spoke about David Fry. Let's talk about the big one, Travis Bazzana. He is expected to miss 8 to 10 weeks, folks, with a right internal oblique strain. Happened during an at bat in a doubleheader game, hit the ball to right field. He was rounding first, heading to second, and started to grab his side and wince. They immediately took him out of the game. So it's going to be a bit before we hear Travis Bazzana. I will now change my thought process. He will not be joining us by the end of June. It's probably going to be September, I think, by the time.
Yeah,
We'll
he may
see
get a
him.
September look. I mean,
No, he has to. He would have to, unless there's somebody else that's absolutely blowing up, and you need because you only get 2 spots, so you never know.
what about
Never
CJ
know.
Kafis?
I was getting ready to say I have a feeling the phone is going to be ringing in Columbus. I think CJ Kafis is coming up, and I think John Kenzie Noel is going to go
Yeah,
back
I
down
could
to
see that
AAA.
he's had his struggles. And then
Kafis is just hitting the cover off the ball.
you also had another reactivation and somebody that we could see up from AAA soon, and that's Chase DeLauter.
Chase
He's off the
Delauder is another
injured
one.
list.
Yep, he's feeling good. One other injury I wanted to touch on was a guy I think that could help us in the infield, and that's Juan Burrito. He is still rehabbing, so it sounds like he's going to be heading out on a rehab assignment soon,
That's promising.
soon-ish.
That's
So
promising.
I'd like to see Juan Burrito. Sam Henches, obviously, we won't see him this year, out again. Eric Sabrowski. Don't forget about Eric Sabrowski,
Yeah, he was a
another
big part of
left-hander.
the tail end of last year.
He's expected to resume mound activity. Last week he resumed, so hopefully he's in bullpen progression, is what they call it. John Means throwing out to 120 feet, folks.
So he's a little
John Means
behind
could
Shane
be.
Bieber.
He's a little bit behind. They're saying bullpen sessions mid to late May. They're thinking he won't join us until August or September
Okay.
for John
And
Means, which is
well, but
great.
that's also when, they brought in Alex Cobb and they brought in uh oh how am I blinking?
Lefty plays for the Cubs now. Matthew Boyd.
Yes, Boyd. Thank you. Yeah,
I
they
was
came
helping
in
you.
and they ended up pitching in the playoffs. So, you can still have some production and that's going to be a help. Plus, keep in mind we have John Means under contract for next season as well. So it's
Yeah,
not
we have
just
a
for
club
this
option.
season and him being in the rotation.
Right.
One more injury that I haven't heard an update on, and I didn't know if you had it. It was Paul Sewald mentioned in those injury updates.
Give me 1 second. I just had Mr. Seawald up. Let me go back to him. He has started to return to throw progression. This was as of May 17th.
Okay, so
Still,
about a week
though,
ago.
dealing with the right posterior deltoid strain. Expected return is TBD. So I don't think he's going to be joining us for a while, but we'll see.
Yeah,
George Valera, that's another name we had high hopes for. He had right patellar tendon repair. He is a rehab assignment with the Arizona Complex League.
Yeah,
So
the Guardians prospect account had tweeted that Chase DeLauter hit an RBI that scored Valera. And I have to say, for Valera to be playing baseball when he tore his patella tendon at the end of last season is pretty incredible.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that if there continues to be struggles with Nolan Jones, if there continues to be struggles with John Kenzie Noel, you have reinforcements coming, and there is going to be a tough divide of what do you do because David Fry is only going to DH. So you're going to have to split
Santana,
time with
Manzardo,
Manzardo and
Fry.
Carlos.
Yeah.
And that, I guess it's going to be whoever the hot bat is. And as of right now, as much as you don't want to see Manzardo out of the lineup, that would mean taking at bats away from Kyle because
Does
Carlos is
doesn't
is is hitting great right now.
but doesn't Manzardo have some outfield experience?
Maybe a little, but I mean, I guess you could throw him out in
Nothing.
right field. I
Yeah,
mean,
when in
hey,
doubt. When in
whatever.
doubt. Yeah. There are two other injuries that we should talk about. They are prospects, very highly touted prospects of the Guardians. Jason Churio and Angel Janau. Both of them, or Genoa, I'm sorry. Genoa suffered a right shoulder sprain. He should be back sometime in June. And it's the same injury or a strain for Churio, highly touted outfielder. I'm excited. Or he's an infielder. I'm sorry. They're both infielders. Number 53 overall prospect for Churio, and Genoa is the 55th overall rated prospect. Um, so we wish them all speedy recoveries. Anybody that can help this team win, come. We need you. Get healthy. Tear the cover off the ball where you are so you can continue to get promoted. And then come to the big leagues and get the Guardians to a freaking World Series, please. And let's win one, please. Just one. I believe it is our turn. Like, come on. Bill Nye the Science Guy said we were winning it this year, and I'm holding him to it. We need to win one.
Nice.
So
But
if
yeah, I
there's
mean,
science involved, let's
we don't
go.
have an easy schedule coming up for into
No,
the
it's
first week of
brutal.
May because they finish
Brutal.
off with the series with Detroit, then the Dodgers and the Angels come to town. Then we go to New York, Houston, and then Cincinnati comes to town.
Yeah, the big one for me, the Dodgers. That one starts Monday. That's going to be a big series.
Yeah, if the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and if you can steal
I just
one
want
from
to
them,
win. I want to win at least two games. I want to take the series. I really do. I just do.
I just hope they don't get embarrassed and don't get swept because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. I mean,
Mhm.
if you do and you surprise the world, fantastic. But
Didn't we
I'm
last
not
year
going to
beat the
take.
Dodgers? I think we did
Say that
when
again.
we played them in a series. I think nobody thought the Guardians would beat the Dodgers in a series last year, and I believe that we beat the
It was either
Dodgers.
last year or the year before. It was
We
like
shocked
Father's Day
everybody.
weekend,
Yeah, we
and they
shocked
took two or
everybody.
three from the Dodgers. Yeah.
Yep. We'll get there. I mean, the Guardians, we know that they're going to be the Guardians. Small ball seems to play in our favor. I will say the one other thing I wanted to touch on now that Brian Rocchio has found out how to hit in AAA, do we think about bringing him back up? Do you?
Not
I mean,
yet. I want to see it
we've got
sustained.
roster moves that are going to need to be made, folks, and this is going to be tough
Uh,
because
The thing is Rocchio just proving he's a quad A guy? Like he goes to AAA and then immediately starts hitting. Well, is it because he's relaxed, or was there an approach change, or was there a swing change, or hold on.
oh,
Oh, I have breaking news.
breaking news,
All
breaking
right,
news into the
breaking
MLB
news.
Guardcast, folks.
So this is
Breaking news.
16 minutes ago from the Guardians. Ben Lively sought a second opinion on his injured right elbow from Keith Meister in Arlington, Texas. Meister confirmed the presence of a flexor tendon injury while also noting medial elbow joint laxity due to an insufficient ulnar collateral ligament. Both team physicians and Dr. Meister believe the joint laxity is placing added stress on the flexor muscles and have recommended UCL reconstruction along with flexor tendon repair.
AKA Tommy John surgery.
No surgical date has been set, but is expected in the coming days, with Dr. Meister return to play timeframe in similar cases 12 to 16 months.
We've just lost Ben Lively, folks, for the season.
That's really
Uh,
unfortunate.
that is a tough pill to swallow because he was our de facto opening day starter when Bybee had an illness. He's pitched fairly well since we had him here. Wish him the best, a speedy recovery. Injuries happen in the game of baseball. They suck when they're to players that you don't want to see get injured. And Ben Lively's one of those guys. He's a lunch pail guy. He'll give you everything he has, and he'll go out there and pitch his heart out. And this just sucks. It's an unfortunate thing, but we know the Guardians have some moves to make. Maybe adding a pitcher could happen, or you have some guys down at AAA that you may be forced to get a look at. Messick is the
Nick
one that
Hazy.
Nick Hazy was up for the doubleheader, even though he didn't pitch. They sent him back down. I think it's Parker Messick is who I believe
Yeah.
that's his first name.
Yeah.
I think those two guys, former Akron Rubber Ducks, could get a call. And
Well, and keep in mind we have
Joey
Shane Bieber coming back
Cantillo,
soon, and John Means we mentioned. So there, and Saccone has taken Lively's spot in the rotation. Starts tonight. Yeah,
yep.
it's really unfortunate news because Lively, while nobody would call him a Cy Young candidate, nobody would call him an ace. He has been the most consistent pitcher in your rotation for basically, all of last season and the start of this season. So uh, a really unfortunate news. And I felt that one. I even mentioned at the beginning of the show that when he was getting that second opinion, oh, that just didn't sound right. You never like hearing
You
those
never
second
like it.
opinions.
No. And I'm sure the first opinion was very similar to the second opinion, and Ben was just trying to avoid surgery. And I get it, and it sucks, but we move on. Next man up, right? That's how it has to be. And he'll still be around. He's not gonna disappear. He's not dead. He may disappear to have the surgery, but we'll see him in the dugout cheering on his teammates, and
Well,
he'll do what
and
needs to be done.
I think he I think he would have another arbitration year.
I
So he'll
hope
be
so.
out all of this season. And so he's gonna, like many guys, that seems to be the case. We are the Tommy John Rehab Center now. He's probably gonna want to stick around, and he may be a late addition to your rotation for next season.
Yeah. It sucks. I mean, again, it's baseball. These things happen, injuries happen, but when they happen to guys that you really like
Yeah.
Jose, Carlos, um, I would even throw Manzardo, Bo Naylor, like those kind of guys, where they're going to go out, they're going to give you everything they have. You don't want them to get hurt because you want to see them play. Even though Ben Lively was pitching every 5 days, you knew what you got every 5 days.
And you know
He
what?
was,
One of the guttiest performances that I've seen in a long time, especially because of what was like the drama around it, was going
mhm.
into Pittsburgh against Paul Skeens on Paul Skeens' bobblehead day and just ruining it for all the
Mhm.
Pittsburgh fans and pitching the
Hey,
gem
guess
that he
what?
did.
Yeah, but we wish Ben Lively nothing but the best. Get surgery, get healthy, and come back and join this team because you're a focal point. You are a big part of it, and we'll miss you, and it'll be next man up. I think Slade Ciccone is the guy for now. If he struggles, you've got Cantillo, you've got
Yeah,
Messick, you've got Nick
that's
Hazy.
true.
I mean, and you can also go out and make a move and get somebody else.
And
You
you
never
do
know.
wonder if at some point they send Joey down to stretch him out
They
because
tried, and then our bullpen, we had the injury
right,
to Sewald, and they had to, or
right.
Sewald, they
And
had
they
to
had
call him right
yeah,
back
they had to
up.
call him up.
So
Yeah.
we'll
All
see.
right. Well, unfortunately, some bad news to end the show, but you know, kudos to my wife for bringing that to our attention so that we were able to talk to it. That was some nice timing. Mike, where can people find you?
I'm on Facebook and Twitter at Mike Vorhies. Brian, where can they find you and us?
At WXSHAW on Twitter. We are Guardcast MLB on Twitter, MLB Guardcast on Facebook. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. And we will talk to you in about 2 weeks. And that is going to take us out to Friday. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. Maybe about June, around the time of the Yankees series is
There you
when
go.
we're going to be talking
There you go.
next.
You heard it, Brian. Brian's calling his shot. I love it. We're going to stick to it because, of course, that's what we do. When schedules get a little crazy, we do what we can to make it fit. So enjoy Memorial Day, folks. Be safe. Enjoy it. Relax. The weather should be nice. It won't be as cold Sunday and Monday. Brian's at his discreet location. I'm sure he's going to have some fun. I'm going to go do some things this weekend. I'm also going to try to relax. Remember, it is Memorial Day. Let's give thanks to why we have Memorial Day,
That's
everyone.
right. That's right.
So be safe. Go Guards. See you soon.
See you soon. Take care.